Energy Pacemakers going up against Team EHOME. EHOME, one of the favorites here in just the open, or the qualifier in general. We'll get to take a look at their roster here. And, well, the Peacemakers, the Pacemakers, whatever you want to call them.
Let's call them the Pacemakers.
The Pacemakers.
Because that's actually
their actual team
That's their
name.
real name.
I mean, let's be honest. HGT and EHOME both look pretty mortal to me. Sure, they're winning their games for the most part, but we have not seen them rolling anyone over in 15, 20 minutes.
That's a really good picture of ROTK. He's very intimidating.
He's got the highlight.
Yeah, there he is. So
everyone's going to have a little bit of red.
Well, he has the TI winnings now. He can afford to pay, for a really nice hairdo and
I like that.
clothes.
It's like just slightly frosted, but he seems to be like the key piece to this team. Of when he's on, we talked about it. When he's on, he's on, and when he's off, oh boy, is he off. And so far,
I mean, I go back to that last match where he was on Darkseer. He gives up first blood, which wasn't the worst thing in the world because the lane was pushing, so he got experience. He went into the jungle, I think, at the right time, got a pretty quick level 3 to 5, but it was much more later on in the game where he just kept on getting picked off at absolutely essential moments. And like the wall would get wasted or he wouldn't have buyback. Ultimately, the game basically ended when RTK died and didn't have buyback. So I feel like that was kind of the story of that.
And
match.
the few times he did get really good backing wall combos, it seemed like the coordination wasn't there, the follow-up wasn't ready, and maybe it's a big play, but without the follow-up, it doesn't really have that same punch. So let's talk about the Energy Pacemakers a little bit. This is their lineup, a team that definitely less people know about. We've got to know them a little bit in DAC, but
if they keep playing like they have been, people are going to know about them by the end of the qualifier.
I love that nickname.
Old Chicken.
Old Chicken. And that's so good.
That is. Look at his face. He looks like he had to eat old chicken. It's like, ugh. This was a terrible experience. He looks so sad, man.
I wonder what that name means. I know there's Old Duck in China. I ate some and it was not good. I wonder if the Old Chicken's any better.
I wonder if that's like an accurate translation of what he's trying to say, or if something's getting lost. I'm not really sure.
It could be a wonderful dish that his mother cooks for him, like
the classic Old Chicken.
Yeah,
like a nice rubbery, it's just been kind of
sitting out in the fridge. Yeah, that's right.
That's right. It's like the perfect stock maker.
Yeah.
Now, what's cool about the Energy Pacemaker team, though, is that they like some different heroes that we haven't seen much of. Beastmaster is the big one. I think they're undefeated with that hero on this patch. Small sample size, but still something they like to run. And Lycan. We haven't seen any Lycan so far, at least on this stream. And, well, a pocket strat they could pull out.
Yeah, they ran that in their earlier game, didn't they?
Did they? Oh, yeah, on the other stream.
Yeah, they actually ran it in their second game.
Well, there you go.
So they get one of their most picked heroes here, the Rubik. And I do want to mention that Shadowfiend gets banned first phase. Not something we've seen a lot this tournament. It was more popular, I would say, like a month ago or even a couple weeks ago. But this allows the gyro through. And EP are going to try to do something that did not work very well earlier. We saw, I think it was Tong Fu Wangzhou tried to go for the... Was it Lena Rubik?
Yeah.
I believe it was. And they could not hit the combo. Then we saw the Shadow Demon Leshrac today. The combo was off the mark.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see if they can execute that.
This is the hardest of them all.
It really is. You have very little time to set it up at the early levels of telekinesis.
At the same time, though, if they can hit it right, then it's brilliant. Like with telekinesis control, into split earth, and then you got the double nuke from both Fatebolt as well as lightning. That's a lot of the early damage you can have. So you can't get weak support heroes here for EHOME.
So I somehow feel like this is not a support Lesh.
I was just going to say that. Are we really that confident that it's a roaming duo here?
I think Lesh is generally stronger these days as a core, and in addition to that, you don't really want to show your entire hand in the first phase. Now, if EHOME expect that it might be a core and then it surprises them that after all it was a support, then it's kind of been a fake play anyway, or a fake draft, whatever you want to call it.
And it was a dummy.
A dummy? How you thought it was a core? It's just a support.
I mean, those to me have been the best drafts of the tournament. There was one by HGT and one by EHOME. I think HGT, they started off with a very generic opening, and then... Oh, no, that was EHOME. And then they went into Juggernaut, Pugna, and I'm forgetting the third here. That was Shadow Shaman. Yeah. Really strong pushing lineup. Mm-hmm. The Disguise drafts have been the most impressive. The other one was where they opened the Wisp. This was for HGT. They opened Wisp and something else, and then I think it was Viper. Then they suddenly go into a Drow Visage. Those those to me have been the most impressive drafts of the qualifiers so far, and
Yeah.
I am curious to see if EP have something kind of like that where they somewhat disguise their real strat
Especially
and
that
then ambush you.
Pugna strat.
They
That one
could
was-
actually get Drow Visage.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too.
That would be super scary.
They would have so much control and so much damage.
It destroys Clockwork too. I feel like he's not really a good counter against it. Apart from, we did see that one game at the Summit where Universe actually, but there was no Visage, but that was the Drow strat that Secret ran, and when they tried to breach high ground, he got an amazing hook shot, but that's not because it was a great counter to the strat. He just found one of the best openings I've ever seen.
just Universe
I mean, that
things.
was just an incredible play. So
Yeah.
I think Clock is a really good counter pick to Lesh, though. Lesh's cast times are very long. If you're isolated in the cogs, you actually can't cast any of your spells apart from your ult.
At the same time, then you got Rubik up against a Clockwork, who's
Yeah, so you
wonderful
can lift
against
him
it.
out. So it's I think EHOME, they did take a lot of time to make this pick. I think they were weighing the pros and cons of it and ended up saying, okay, it's probably worth it. We want an offlaner. I think getting ROTK on Clockwork, I think it's his best hero personally. So he is also the captain. I think he feels like, all right, now he needs to put up a good performance in this game. And
Ooh, another
Gets
first
himself to
timer
the
on
clock
this
here.
stream. A pretty redhead for the energy pacemakers.
It is not one of their most picked, not one of their best heroes as far as the matches they had coming into the tournament.
Yeah.
And normally when we see Wind Ranger, it's with the Drow. I feel like that's the main situation where we see it. But
yeah, and she just got banned.
She's been banned out.
Visage is still in.
EHOME covering their bases. Now the Dragon Knight gets snagged.
the Dragon Knight Gyro duo. I think it was Puppy who was casting at the Summit 3, and he was talking about how like this was one of the old classic strategies back when Gyro was strong before Flat Cannon got nerfed from 20 to 30 seconds. DK was often one of his sidekicks. You just get the 2 BKBs and you just 5-man towers and just roll over the opposition.
Are we looking at a support Wind Ranger or a mid Wind Ranger?
I'd be inclined to say mid with a safe lane Lesh and an off lane Bristle, but it's still pretty open-ended here.
They should not run Bristle off lane.
You don't think so?
I mean, they might.
I know
but
how
they
much
really
you like your
shouldn't.
safe lane Bristle.
No, he's just. I feel like from the sample size we had at the Summit, at least, which is obviously the nearest reference point, I think Bristle offlane lost every time, apart from when he was with Wisp, and mid and safe lane Bristle had a ridiculously high win rate, and it wasn't just wins. Like he destroyed in those games. So
you think off lane Wind Ranger feels more likely, perhaps?
I feel like it's better. Like I don't know if that's what they're going to do. They could also run 2-1-2s. It's possible that Bristle goes mid, and they could actually play. The last pick could still be a support, and they could play like Rubik Lesh safe lane, which is a really strong safe lane against Clock, and then they could put Wind Ranger +1 off lane and play Bristle mid or
It's
Bristle +1.
really hard to go aggressive against EHOME as well. They have Gyro, who's much stronger in this patch, and they have Ancient Apparition. Like already, that's a very difficult lane to match up against.
It might almost be worth picking up something like a Dazzle for EP, just so you can make sure that Bristleback stays alive in the offlane.
I was actually thinking Dazzle as well.
But Wind Ranger is actually really good against their offlane, though.
Yeah.
Like AA is all about the chilling touch. You just dodge the attacks, and against the Gyro, you just need to create enough of a gap so that he can't battery assault.
Then let
Barrage.
Bristleback go by himself up against the DK.
That's a good lane.
Because he doesn't even need help up against the
I think
DK.
Bristle wins that lane.
Well, we also saw Lesh dominates DK. We saw that earlier.
That's true. They could also do that. And then they could safe lane Bristle. Like, they actually have a lot of options with this opening. They're going to obviously
Bristle
decide
versus
now.
Clock 1v1 is pretty good. I feel like you can run Lesh mid, Bristle safe, and then Wind Ranger +1, maybe a roaming support, or even try for the aggressive tri-lane, but that feels a little bit riskier.
If they don't go for the Dazzle, Venge is a hero that I feel like has been a little bit forgotten in the games we've seen so far today.
It's decent against hookshot. I mean, they already have the Rubik to somewhat deal with that. It is a support that needs quite a bit of experience, and that's where, I mean, at that point, all of these heroes need a lot.
Yeah, it just sets up very well for Lesh. Good roaming duo with Rubik.
I mean, there is still that dual roam potential. We're kind of assuming Leshrac is a core, but it doesn't have to be.
I even think EP might be in a situation where they could get away with running an Enigma if they wanted to. I don't see EHOME being able to challenge it that much. I think Midnight Pulse is really good against Gyro and Dragon Knight. And then Black Hole is a possibility. It can be countered by Clockwork Hookshot, but apart from that, it's actually not that unrealistic to land good Black Holes in this game. I'm always looking, whenever I'm looking at Enigma, I'm looking for, okay, can the enemy team actually invade my jungle and counter me out? And on level 1 fights, all right, they're going to go for Lycan instead. So
Wow, a lot of pushing power now.
Something you mentioned, Andrew, they do like their Lycan in this patch, and they are 3-0 with him in 6.84.
I don't know how good of a Lycan game this is, though.
They're 4-0 now. They won a game earlier.
If you don't have EHOME invading their jungle, it's actually quite great, because then Lycan can just leave that top lane and let Leshrac get a lot of burst levels.
It's definitely good to give the Lesh some...
Oh, this could be a really good tree game, actually.
They actually last picked that into Lesh, who's kind of in his own way with Edict, but it's not the popular build.
But
right
he's
now.
I think the tree's amazing here for overgrowth as much as living armor. You're up against Bristle, it's fantastic against him. Lycan, it's amazing, obviously.
Yeah.
I think they're picking it more for the overgrowth than the armor. I would agree.
You guys took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, like, I feel like it seems intuitive to say, okay, living armor against Lycan will slow down the push, but it never really works out that way because he has so many units. He just chews through it right away. He'll almost undoubtedly get a Necro book. So
it does help if he's like doing chip damage and doesn't finish the tower. Then you can start to heal it back up. But what do you guys think though? We see some different picks in this draft. Do we have a favorite here?
The team with Bristle.
He's doing well, man.
I do think the Lycanthrope is a little scary, I have to admit.
I'd also say it's a little bit more scary too, being on the dire side, because I think EP have very easy access into Roshan and very easy ways to contest it too, because their control factors with Rubik, Windranger, and Latrak are very, very good. Yeah. And they've even got negative armor coming out from the Bristleback, plus they have the bonus damage from the Lycan.
I think if the teams were swapped, so EP had they had each other's drafts, I think I would favor EHOME based on draft, because it's difficult for me to call EP the favorites going. They're obviously the underdogs already in the game, and just how big of an advantage do they have in the draft? Is it enough to make up for it? I don't think so. But the one thing I do want to point out is they've put CTY on Dragon Knight, and I really don't think this is a good hero-player match. He is a very aggressive player. He tries to dominate the lane and really take over. I don't know how much he can really do on the Dragon Knight. I guess we're going to see, but not really the stereotypical CTY hero like Shadow Fiend Quap or Store Spirit. So, well, it's a good draft. It's one of the closest drafts in my opinion so far.
Well, with that, Toby, Sin, looks like we got a little jungle invasion on our hands. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing just how long they're going to remain here, because they're pretty aggressive. In fact, I think this is actually an aggro. This is an aggro trial lane. They put down 2 walls to block the pull point, a deep observer ward, and Old Chicken's already going to give them the bonus damage required.
He's starting with a Quelling Blade too on the Lycan. That's generally either something you do if you jungle or if you're expecting a 1-1 melee matchup.
So I'm thinking he wants to go up against top lane, up against someone like up against the Clockwork.
I think he's against Dragon Knight.
Yeah. You look at the positions. They've actually moved the Bristleback to go up against the Clockwork, and then the Lycan takes the mid solo, meaning the Windranger is the core on the off lane with the Rubik Lesh support. They're definitely making it hard to read, but at the same time, EHOME then run these dual lanes. So they've actually moved their lanes around, so they run the Clockwork on the safe lane. They push the DK to the mid. And in fact, Ancient Apparition is already heading north. So they've actually switched their tri-lane up to go up against the safe lane Bristle.
Yeah, aggressive tri-laning against the Bristle I think is a really good call. Just reduces farm as much as possible. If you're trading your Clockwork losing farm for their Bristle losing farm, I would say it's a win for you. Clockwork's going to easily have a higher impact without items, and if the XP is comparable, then I think Clockwork's also going to be more useful. So this makes a lot of sense. I think the mid lane on paper in the past would have favored Lycan. With the new Breathe Fire, it's a bit more even, because now he can obviously just the damage reduction is on everyone, not just heroes, right? Yeah, it's on all targets. So he can use that, hit the wolves and hit the hero, and then he can still farm even against Lycan plus double wolves.
And there's going to be
well, if he's going to skill them, that is.
Yeah.
So far he hasn't.
He'll get there eventually, man. Don't worry. I was just wondering, like, where does the first kill even happen on this map? Because on the aggro trialing, like, you feel possibilities there. In fact, that actually looks to be the biggest possibility. But living armor is always that pain in the butt to try and get through. So ROTK is going to be kept alive. And in fact, they've just switched it around to being dual lanes here for EP, so they don't have to commit too much. It's enough to make sure the Clockwork doesn't get enough. And the Leshrac, then again, what is he meant to achieve on this top? Like, Lightning Harass, like, is all he can do, but he leveled up Split Earth.
Well, he did open the poll, so if they can get a couple of polls off, that would be nice. I would imagine it's also in the plans that Rubik rotates. He has a TP available. Actually, Dragon Knight trying for this top rune, not going to get it. Nice Split Earth here by LT. Possibly
the best rune he could have picked up as well. He's not going to harass like CTY down at all because of wonderful living armor, but having a haste rune means there's no way he can get a kill from the other rotating heroes from top.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the laning EP. I feel like they shouldn't keep this laning. The Bristle really needs to get farm, and Lesh can't secure him at all against this tri lane. Whereas if they rotate Rubik, they might have a shot at killing, but they still need to be careful. Bristle being level 3 is going to help a lot. Gyro is also closing in on level 3, but...
Like, because Bristle's still finding levels, and like the win range is finding really good CS on the bottom lane. I never want
I
to
think I'd rather have it the other way around, though. So Windranger gets levels and CS go to Bristle. A hero without farms is really not that good.
Yeah, well, the win range, I don't know, man. Like, what would the Aghanim's change to focus fire?
Oh, well, she's good with farm, for sure. But
Yeah.
she has a... How to explain it? She needs less to be useful than Bristle does. So it's like...
Sure.
If you could get, let's say, a 50% Windranger and a 50% Bristleback, I think it's better than a 75% Windranger and a 25% Bristleback. So they need to, like, weigh the pros and cons in that.
I can understand that.
regard.
Right now, I think they're just really happy the fact that Clockwork's getting Jackal. Even the denials, like, you're a 15-12 for Fan on this off lane, so he is. And in fact, now Shackle's shotting in for the power shot, follow-up telekinesis. They got Fatebolt available as well. Living Armor once again kicks in. So difficult to kill a RTK, but top lane now, this might be a little bit easier. Going in for that lead, see Bristleback being massively slow. He's got a lot of Quill Spray stacks up over on the Gyrocopter, with the last fist from Lanham will connect. And that's going to be first blood in the top lane.
Man, if Rubik was there, that would have been really good for EP. All of the 3 Radiant heroes here, look at their health. About 150 on both Gyro and AA before they tangoed, and the Treant with like 250 or so. They could have easily taken that fight.
Wow, that Shackle actually latches. The Living Armor is enough to protect him again. That a 29 HP and RTK has to leave the bottom lane.
He's still doing a good job, like, making them invest this much and not dying, even though they have to trade off Living Armor every time, is totally worth it.
Oh, missing on that stun. Gyrocopter a little bit too far up. He's got 10 stick charges as well as phase boots. So Bristleback will never really get the movement advantage on him at the moment.
Yeah, and now it might be too late. This is the problem. If Rubik rotates now, they're possibly still not able to win the lane because of Gyro's farm. Having these phase boots, well, they still kill him, actually. If they get a lift into Split Earth with Bristle on top, I think it's a kill. Because that's one thing EHOME's lane doesn't have. They don't have counter engage. They don't have a single stun or silence or something to prevent Bristle from doing damage. They can slow him down, but if they've already locked Gyro next to him with stuns, then he's still going to get 2 or 3 calls off before he creates a big enough gap.
So this whole lineup of EHOME is really, like, so when you look at it, as you said, like, there's no stuns, like, you get some extra damage, which is wonderful, but that's basically it. It's this EHOME lineup now just waiting for their timings to hit, to have Gyro with some decent farm, same with Clockwork and DK, and then rely on these 3 heroes to carry them through.
Yeah, they're probably, what they're going to do is I guess they're happy enough with the laning situation. I think they're getting a little bit out farmed, but they don't know, and even if they knew, I don't think they would make any big adjustments. They just need to make sure AA gets level 6 at a reasonable timing. I think it's okay to not get the overgrowth until, say, minute, like, 14 or so. It's good if they have it earlier, but not a requirement. I think the Ice Blast is going to be a lot more important.
CTY's in trouble. He doesn't have vision of this because we are in nighttime, so pick up a throwdown, Lesh stun, and like an instantly the dragon into wolf form, but there's enough damage still coming in from the Rubik. So DK will drop in the mid. And that was around the same time as our wonderful observer was showing out. The Living Armor actually went back on cooldown.
Yep. Can they get any collateral, though? There's 1 point in Edict on Lesh, so they could try to do a little bit of damage on the tower. This is actually very... He has a lot of faith in him, in his own ability, and in the Rubik to not skill up Split Earth. The timing window is very small for landing these Split Earths, but they just did it, so I guess that's a bit of a confidence boost. And nice warding here from Lei as well in the top lane. This ward is one that's pretty rarely going to get dewarded, and actually gives some really useful information for this safe laner, because inevitably EHOME will be interested in killing this Bristle again or challenging him, and now they're going to see it way before. They're going to see when they TP in even. That's really nice.
It's kind of interesting that, like, you look for that kind of ward, not just like if you're adding pressure on the top lane, it's to come in behind the tier 1 tower and push the tier 1 tower on the top. But I don't think Leshrac is looking to push anytime soon, not with the Lycan at least.
And it's just, even if there is a better ward on the map, that better ward will more likely get dewarded. This is not where you're going to look for it right now. That one is one you're going to look for.
Yeah.
So, you're going to lose that one.
That means they've only got one bit of vision, which is behind that tier 1 tower on top. That's all EPCs right now. But they're still looking for some kind of opening on CTY, but with Rubik already showing himself, they're not going to find not enough space at least to get him behind the DK. But this is what I was looking for the Lycan. Actually, is he building?
Flats.
Okay, yeah, so it is. Like, I was
It's still, you still need to get used to that. It looks weird when you see a headdress, but
Yeah,
that is the build-up.
It doesn't feel natural.
All right. Wow, they actually found that ward. Are you kidding me? Like, they might have. I think they actually saw his movement because of their own. No, that one is brand new. Did they see Rubik run in there? Because that's like a really. I don't know. That's.
He did it from the other side of the tree line too, so you weren't going to see him plan it.
I mean, it's not like a new ward, so to say. It's not.
It's just
been used before. But
It's just like 5 minutes ahead of its time.
yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. It's very early to place it, and there was no like obvious reason why they would place it there at that point for EHOME. From EHOME's perspective, but well, kudos to whoever figured out that it was there. I think they must have seen some movement else. That's just
They had to have. Like it's the only reason, man. Because you wouldn't de-ward that position with the EP lineup. We're not like if you had Lashrak on top lane, then yes, I would look for that ward because I'd be thinking, okay, the win range of the Rubik's going to be coming in behind me, and I'm going to get shackled or controlled that way. So it makes a lot of sense. But a Lycan wants to wait out before he tries to start and push. In fact, most of the time, Lycan's just wanting to have Vladimir's offering, get a Medallion of Courage, and go into Roshan and take it quickly. Like that's his goal in this game, and you just have to be ready at that point to battle this. Which is, I think, why DDC is also, like, okay, he's doing the pull through at the moment, but he needs level 6.
Yep.
Because that's the easiest way to try and stop that Roshan from happening.
They have both AA and Rocket Flare. It's actually decent Roche scouting tools. Yep. Oh, nice hook shot from RTK. That should be a kill. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he actually reached it. I was wondering with the range change for melees if that was not going to work.
Melee.
It's like Templar Assassin, man. Got that little bit of extra range.
Actually look like 3
It's a trap. In for the lead seat, straight for the call down, and Rocket Barrage, that bristle pack. He walks straight into it, but they can't finish the job. The Lycan Wolves are behind him. They go for the Rocket Barrage, but Wolves don't care about that. So they get a looping armor over on the Gyro as he retreats back out, but the T1 tower is still being attacked here. So they have to keep their eyes over on the DK. Fortification will slow him down. So the Wolves are still on their chase, but there was enough life given back that they'll be fine. Should be fine. Lanham, okay, maybe not so fine. Get back under the tower. Stick charges. Can he turn for a lead seat? If he turns, I think he's actually dead as well. He'll actually get the kill with the Wolves back behind the tier 3 tower.
That's so worth it. He gets full experience and gold, even with summoned units now, so it's a big pickup. That's almost level 9. He's got an item flying out. I guess it's brown boots, or is it treads? All right,
he's not even getting the boots, it's just the other parts.
Okay, so he's just doing the farming build-up. I would imagine he's getting boots next, else that's just really weird. Just running around with that inventory.
Well, he needs the strength and he needs the attack speed to go for Roshan.
Yeah, sure.
That's all he needs. But it means he is bypassing the medallion.
Or, yeah.
He doesn't really need it though, because you've got the bristleback. Like the bristleback's going to soak up a lot more for you, and the bristleback's now up to level 7, so his physical damage is coming up, and he's got nasal goo.
The bristle could actually go for a solar crest. It's a decent item for the hero, but I think he wants to get mech. Oh, never mind, Vanguard. Vanguard first.
Greatest item in the game, isn't it?
It's good. It's really good on bristle. Like, it's an item that I feel like is very good on a few heroes, and on others it's okay. And bristle is one of those that is just really, really good on.
EHOME are really forcing this issue. The other person that's not there is the Ancient Apparition, but he has level 6 Clockwork, actually hookshotting in on the Gyrocopter.
He got him.
The Dragonaut takes the tower, and actually Rubik gets the Dragon form.
That's fairly useless.
Yeah. Like, he prefer to have the breathe fire, that way he's got the double nuke. Oh, well, it's done.
While he's in Dragon form, no, wait, if he steals Dragon Tail after he loses his, or does he keep his Dragon form until it's expired, or does he lose the Dragon form when he steals another
I believe
spell?
he keeps it until it expires.
Right? So he could actually steal ranged Dragon Tail, right?
True.
Technically. That's pretty good.
The chance of that, though, is quite low, because you start with stun and then you go into breathe fire. Lanham being picked up and going down, and yeah, they don't see him. In fact, then the stun on Chicken, the Ice Blast coming in nicely, but it's actually going to miss the targets, but the Rocket Barrage and cooldown damage kill off the Rubik, and Old Chicken, he got chilled up at least, but he'll survive. It's only a level 1.
That was pretty close. I think it didn't do the explosion damage. I think it just clipped him. If that had hit him with the impact, he would have died. So EP get a little bit lucky there to get away with at least one of their heroes, but They still lose one. They're starting to take damage in the tower. What's their trade-off right now? There's actually every single hero in the game is on the bottom or in the Dire base. Apart from never mind. Clockwork.
They just TP'd up to
They
top
ported up
lane.
Lycan, and Clock actually wasn't even there. So he's ready here. He might try for a play if he can get any backup here.
He's still got Wolves sitting next to him, so the battery assault's not going to do
That was
anything.
a very bad trade.
He loses so much life, and
He used 50 mana and 500 health to deal 0 damage. That's
worth it.
worth. I guess he was trying to bait a TP maybe. Just try to intimidate a little bit and see if he could get a rotation, but EP didn't take the bait. Lanham. Uh-oh, he's under a sentry. He's actually he's dead.
Yep. The core spray is a beautiful thing, as well as the power shot coming in. They wanted to ensure he would die. But it was all about having a bit of a peek up. I don't know if it's actually if he had observer wards on him, if he was looking to plant. It's just sentry wards.
sentries.
He might have just been looking to try and block the ancient stack.
Either that or just get some information. Like, just walk around and try to find some vision. Even if you don't have wards, Trian can still be a ward himself, and sometimes
that's
it's...
an expensive walking ward to lose.
Well, sometimes it's definitely... Sometimes it's worth it. Like, any sort of information at this level of play is really crucial. And even if he died, I guess he did find the Ancients, like you said, and I guess they realized, okay, it's just a double stack, we don't want to contest it right now. If he would have found a quad stack, I think you would have seen some Radiant heroes moving right now.
Mm-hmm. Or DDC just throwing some Ice Blast up to screw with them a little bit.
Yeah.
Because all he's got to do is hit that stairwell.
Oh, they will check. Well, actually, there was a triple. There's 4 golems and a Drake, so there would have been a triple or even a quad stack, actually. But yeah. Regardless, EHOME probably shouldn't contest it right now. It's a very risky play, aggressing like this. Trend is fairly useless for now in that kind of fight. The other heroes are good, but they're engaging into darkness, so... And the Dire actually even have a high ground ward here, so... They're going to let them have it. I guess this is the Vanguard for Bristle. He's going to have a PMS and a Vanguard. That's... Well, they do stack. So... Oh! If that rocket hits, oh wow. That's a really nice snipe. That's really, really good.
The hilarious thing is they waited until he backed up from the ancient area, which is where they didn't have where they did have vision.
No, they didn't even, right?
They kept throwing out rocket after rocket.
Uh-huh.
So and it's obvious where he's going to be then. Heavy call down top, but Old Chicken just triggers off his shapeshift and comes back in for the tower. Meanwhile, in mid, Overgrowth stolen by Rubik, but at least it keeps back the rest of EP from killing him. But the Lycan takes out the top tower.
Solid play by Old Chicken there. He goes back against the call down, just takes a calm look at the situation. Okay, who's coming in? Do I have an opportunity to re-go? And then he looks around the map, he sees the missing heroes, and he's easily able
RTK's in a lot of trouble.
to snipe that tower.
A lot of trouble. This Rubik's going to get the telekinesis pick up on him. She's out of range for it. So instead they move over for the gyrocopter with a fade ball. Yep, very quick. The stick charges are still there for him. He stayed alive such a long... Oh, wait, hang on. It's not going to be an even trade. All 4 hit, and the hook shot in from ROTK. There's not enough follow-up damage to ensure the kill over on the Lashrak as well. And in fact... Okay, no. The mana's not going to be terrific for the Bristleback as he comes down here. In fact, ROTK is sent invis. He'll be fine.
I think he would have liked to hit someone else with the hook shot, because Rubik was already going to die to the Ice Blast. Or maybe he just wanted to secure.
He just wanted Lashrak more than anything else.
If he could have got Lesh there, they would have got 2 kills, and I think he would have lived as well. So... But still, it's a 1-for-0 for them at least. And in the meantime, CTY is getting pretty good farm. That's a BKB recipe he got, right? So then he almost has a BKB at around minute 17. He's going to have it. He was sitting on like 1,000 gold, right?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, he's getting it now. So this wave
He's
and
now
another
100,
100.
yeah, 100 gold, wow.
1630. That's a pretty good time.
Bad.
It's not really that good against Lycan, and it's also not that good against Bristle, but it's good against the other heroes. It's a kind of a tricky Dragon Knight game in the sense that a lot of the time when you play Dragon Knight, you feel like you're so tanky with all your armor that if you just build either, like in some cases, a pipe or just a BKB to block out all the magic damage, you're actually incredibly tanky. But they have so much physical damage that he might actually have to itemize for that fairly early in his build. So instead of getting a Shadow Blade now, he might want to go for something like a Kiras directly or some sort of armor.
Could you even just get the casual plate mail to get you?
You could maybe get a plate mail. I think he doesn't need it unless there is a medallion on the Dire. And it looks like Lycan isn't getting it. If they had a Solar Crust, Focus Fire, minus 10 armor, and then both Lycan and Bristle hitting at you're not going to appear like a Dragon Knight in fights. Mm-hmm. Or like your brother Silencer. But yeah, he's going to be fine. I don't think they're building any medallion, which is surprising. I think it's really good for EP's lineup to have one.
They don't have one at all. It was a level 1 Necrobook over on the Lycan, so they smoke up, maybe find a kill, and then go for a push. That tier 1 tower is still up on the bottom lane.
Ooh, this could be good. If they saw that rocket, they could go in right after the rocket fades. But I don't think they saw it coming. Yeah, they would have. They have a ward. So I think they would have seen that.
It flew over the top of the heroes anyway. So
Double sentry?
Yeah.
Triple? Oh, no.
Snobs. Not that much overkill. That lets him see Landon actually throwing far enough away. He's actually out of range of this. And then a big hook shot in with the Ice Blast and the Breathe Fire. It's a huge amount of damage being done. 3 heroes lost for EP for the price of ROTK. They may lose more. In fact, they will. The Rocket Barrage with the stun. It's a triple kill coming in for the Gyro. He'll survive the rest of the throw out from EP. And, good fight. 2 for 4.
That's a big 4-staff play right there by the AA, who got it really early, by the way, and chose to not go for the Ags build-up that we see most of the time on Apparition, but in that case, it kept Train alive, it stretched the fight a little bit, so EP got into a way worse position and end up getting, like you said, 4 for 2. They do lose their bottom tier 1s. I want to call it an even trade, but the fact is they would probably lost that tower anyway at some... Yeah, in the near future, so...
I wish we could actually look back at that fight in slow motion again, because Rubik somehow managed to steal the Ancient Apparition Ultimate.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
right, actually. That's right, yeah.
Being shouted up, I'm just like, wait, am I tripping here? Like, it's like is Ancient Apparition over on the dire side? It's like, no, it's Rubik actually stole AA ulti. That's why after the hook shot came in and AA Blast was like, yeah, this is actually looking good.
Wait, what's CTY doing? Can you go to the... Oh, what?
you have control yourself as well.
I got DC. Did he actually make that stack? He started pulling that stack at like 49. That is really weird. I'm pretty sure I wasn't seeing things.
That's way too early.
You pulled that like 3 or 4 seconds later. That's a little strange. I'm not sure if he misread the clock. A modern classic.
It's difficult to misread a digital clock.
I don't know. Strange.
If it was an analog,
he's an experienced player. He should know that.
Yeah,
I think. I'm not sure what. Whatever. It's a
small thing. It's a small little thing.
But obviously, those small things add up over the course of a game. But it's kind of the first. It's the first thing I've seen out of him that you could classify as a real mistake, I guess. So. He's been looking solid this game on his Dragon Knight.
He's in such a comfortable position too. Like having that BKB, Gyrocopter soon is also going to have that BKB. But it's the fact that DK is progressing through and having more damage, like more options for his next item already. BKB is a wonderful thing, but you've taken out 2 tier 1 towers. So you got an injection of money from this. You can take out the other one on the top lane without any real kind of contest from EP. I doubt they're going to try and defend that tower. And you still hold your tier 1 tower in mid. So as far as map control goes, EHOME can bring in support very, very quickly for whatever you're doing.
Yeah, the dangerous thing for EHOME is if they go for the top tier 1, they probably lose Roche. And you can also see them drawing it right now with CTY. Like, if they push that tower, they have to find a way of doing it while covering the Roche pit. They could obviously just rock it with Clockwork and try to get information that if the timing is right, maybe they can go for the tower, but... There's always the risk that EP actually smoke in there, even with a rocket in there. If their heroes are top and they have vision in the pit, if they just smoke in and go, they can't even make it there on time for the Radiant, I think. They would have to TP on the mid-tier 1, then running down there takes a good like 10 or 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. And, the Dire could actually almost kill Roche in that time. They have Nasal Goo, they have the Wolves Necro 2, Vlad's... No Medallion, though. If they had Medallion, I'm positive they would make it on time, but maybe not.
And then they got the Howl.
And the Howl, yeah. And Focus Fire. So maybe they can, actually.
Even though it's a level 1 Focus Fire.
It's level 2, right?
Is it level 2 already?
Yeah.
Wow, okay, cool. That's almost Aghanims too. Like that's another 2,000 gold until you got Aghanims over on this Wind Ranger.
It's a pretty farmed Wind Ranger. She's actually out-farming the Gyro by a whopping 114 gold.
Massive.
But it's still an out-farm. So her staying on par with Gyro means she's doing a pretty good job. Gyro has 83 CS, 3, 1, and 3. She's just, it's CS. She's ahead on 18 CS more.
But she was, like, on that bottom lane, it was so easy for her when the Clockwork was there. It was like, what are you even going to do against this?
Yeah, and she even had help of Rubik on the first, 4 or 5 waves, 6,
maybe. I think in the first 5 minutes she had, 20 denies in the lane. So like the control of the lane was perfect for EP. That was one thing. Still, even as we go through this series and we go into the second game, I think EHOME's got to give a lot more respect to EP's laning phase, because they were really they were sending toe to toe with them, if not in front of them, for most of the laning phase. Even with the switch ups with the top lane. Which is where EHOME got their strength when they played their first game. Like their lane switches were great. The movement of the Pugner from the off lane and the Viper down. Like they read the lanes and the heroes are up to get the matchups perfectly. Where in this game it's been very, we know what we're going to get. We'll just wait it out. We'll be okay, boys. But that might also be another factor with the Ancient Apparition as well as the Dream Protector. It is more of a wait and farm game.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be looking to these guys to smoke rotate to find kills.
They can, but the lanes they had to gank weren't that good. Wow. They could have actually tried to gank the Lycan, but they were prioritizing shutting down Bristle, which I think was still the right choice. You can see his net worth right now being 5.3k. If they don't contest him right now, his farm list is going to look more like Wind Rangers, or actually even Dragon Knights in that lane. So I think that trade-off is easily worth it. They let Lycan have more farm than they could have if they rotate it, but opening up for Bristle is not a good idea. So it's interesting to see the PMS and Vanguard. It's a lot of block.
Because it's not really worth a stack, is it? Like the PMS early on I can understand, but...
The chances stack.
Yeah.
So you're almost guaranteed to block. Like the chances combined are.
But at the same time, you don't have to buy the full PMS. You can leave it as a stout shield, move that into Vanguard, and then build into something more like having like a buckler, and then get into your Crimson Guard.
But he bought the poor man's shield because he needed it for that trialing. He was getting hit quite a lot by the AA and the gyro, I guess.
So he just needed something cheap for then.
It's actually pretty good value. I think as of the latest patch, it's actually not just the 100% block chance. It's also the block amount. Because PMS has the old block, which was 1020, whereas Stout Shield got nerfed to 816. So you also get an extra 4 block value for the money. So it's relative. Like, this Poor Man's Shield is cheaper than the old one. The old one was 550, and the new one's 500, because Stout Shield got cheaper, but then got nerfed. So I want to say it's pretty good, actually. In a lot of cases, grading it. You also get 1 armor from 6 agility, roughly. You get like 0.84 or something, so...
Well, that works. Well, we actually have RTK now connecting back into the game, so it looks like, hopefully EHOME is ready to go again as they get their captain back in. But EP... It's still one of those games, though, where I just look at it, and I think EHOME... Like, the team fight looks wonderful. Like, the team fight looks absolutely wonderful. But if just one thing goes wrong in that team fight, EP is going to not only beat them, but take out all their buildings. Because you're running a Lycan and a Bristol on the same team.
And a Lesh.
Yeah.
And he's actually got 2 points in Edict. I'm wondering if he wants to level up Edict to 4, or if he wants to level up Split Earth to 4. But I think he's making a mistake if he doesn't get a value point in Pulse Nova. It's really, really good. Even for a support Lesh, I think he's going to get situations, or get forced into situations where he needs to use Pulse Nova, so then having that 1 point is...
Is it really sustainable, though, when you're running a Lesh with just Bracer and
He has enough mana for this, for sure. That's not the problem. If you look at how Pulse Nova works, the activation cost level 1 is 70, and then it's 20 per second, so... Like, relative to his other abilities, if you have this running for 10 seconds in a team fight, it's 270 mana. And then he can even cast his other spells, like 5... Let me see, how many times can he cast the other spells? He can have that running for 10 seconds and cast each of his other spells twice, or so. Which he obviously won't. You can't cast Edict twice, that would be pretty OP, but... Because they do stack. Alright, we got
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
More like 1.
After everyone else was... Time flies when you're sleep deprived.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I don't know. I feel like this game is actually really hard to call. I think Clockwork is going to play a really essential role. If he can catch Lycan and isolate him, and then get a 4-staff for himself, for example, just buying time with Cogs, it's also great against Bristle. Zoning out the 2 melee cores in the enemy team is what can win them the team fights. I think if EP get in on top of EHOME, and the Treant, for example, doesn't get off the good overgrowth, or if they start getting BKB, so just counteract that, Gyro gets run over by Lycan. He actually can't fight him at all. If Lycan gets a couple good items, like the Necrobook 3, even when Gyro has a BKB, when the BKB expires, he could kill himself with Flat Cannon. Or even if he kills the books, they will still get in a lot of attacks first, and it is tricky as, this is...
That was quick.
They actually knew it was happening, but they couldn't get in there in time.
They're going to lose so hard. You've already got the Clockwork just jumping in, chasing after Old Chicken. Can't get himself away to safety. So he'll end up not only burning the Aegis the Immortal, he lost his Bristleback.
Wait, why did CDY BKB? Oh, is RTK going to die here?
He looks very, very low. But he's going to be okay. The Living Armor is actually kicking in for the moment. Old Chicken's going to die inside the pits. They burn through the Aegis. And it's a double kill at the end of the day coming in for the Gyrocopter.
Oh, I think that's good enough for EHOME. It's pretty much an even trade, but...
I think they're fine killing off both the cores, not losing any heroes. You lose Roshan, sure, but you've just ensured that your Gyrocopter's got an injection of money through his 2 kills.
Oh, he got both?
Yeah, he got both the kills, so he's 5-1-3 now.
Yeah, and the fact that they can't get to use the Aegis. Even if they would have only killed Lycan, I think that would have still been worth it, to be honest. So good play from EHOME. They did use their BKB on CTY. I think that was a misclick, so that's a little bit unfortunate that that's down to 8 seconds instead of 9, but they can probably deal with that. Oh, the Lycan on the sidelines for this long. This is actually a pretty slow Necro 3, to be honest. We're 21 minutes in. He had a great amount of farm. Like, he's got 150 CS. If they didn't go for Roche, by now he would have like 100, 165, maybe 170 almost. So he could have definitely had a Necro 3, but they went for Roche instead. So this Necro 3 might come out at like minute 23 or 24, which is, it's pretty late. And you need to remember every other item he gets delays his BKB, and that's the item that's going to make him almost invulnerable in fights. Like, they actually can't kill him when you have that. But until then, AA ult hurts, Clockwork hurts, Breathe Fire, Call Down, so much damage. When there's BKB, there is Flat Cannon only, pretty much. And a couple of right clicks from Dragon Knight, but won't really care.
Well, EHOME's not caring as they're pushing for the top tower at the moment. So there's Tier 1 towers, days and numbered. The Tier 2 tower is about to be pressured by EP on bottom. But it looks like EHOME want to go the whole way. So they take out the Tier 1. DDC actually going to TP back. That's the DK arriving. And he's still got 2.7k gold now. That's a lot to work with. And we still ask ourselves the question too, is it worthwhile picking up that Assault Cuirass?
He gets Shell Blade. So I was saying, I think, so if there is any minus armor on the Dire, I think he might need an armor item. But since there isn't, I think the Shadow Blade is the best choice. They want to get the Silver Edge to break Bristle.
Yep.
He can actually also break Lycan. I guess that removes Feral Impulse. It should, but there's a couple of abilities in the game I think that still don't get broken like they should. I believe Untouchable is one of them. You can't break that, actually, from what I know. But that might have been patched. I'm not sure. But yeah, breaking Bristle is going to be really, really good. That's the main reason he's getting it, I guess.
RTK, hookshot. Oh, actually, that he was saved by going into shapeshift form. If he kept walking, he would have walked into the perfect line for RTK's hookshot.
He's going to feel really, really annoyed with that miss.
If RTK waited just half a second, he would have known.
Yep.
Because the rocket vision wouldn't have disappeared.
It's a Necro 3 as well as the Ags for Windranger. So they've got some damage, but these 2 BKBs on the Radiant are going to be a problem right now. This is where, once again, I think a Solar Crest could be super useful for their team, but no one's building any minus armor. So the Dragon Knight's actually going to feel really safe in his ults, or in his BKB, I think. He even has living armor to boot. He's got 29 armor when he gets Friendly Medallion by the Treant. There's nothing to counteract it.
That's one tanky knight. So what is EP meant to do? Like, you got your Necro books, you've got your push power. Can you even force your push up against EHOME, or does this just turn it into a 5-on-5 fight that EHOME will win?
I think it's important they get a good spell steal. They can definitely fight. We also haven't seen any 2-hero shackle shots yet. That's always the wild card that they have. If they can land double shackle on, well, any 2 heroes basically, it's got a major impact on the team fight. And Windranger, she can kill Gyro pretty fast with the Ags. I think the biggest mistake they could make is to try to go on Dragon Knight and kill him. That's the only thing they need to avoid. Any other target is definitely doable very quickly. And if they get ahead in the fight, they have a really good lineup for chasing. They have Windranger with Windrun. They've got the Lycan, obviously. And of course, even a couple of stuns to boot, and the lightning storm. So, gets breathe fire. It's not really that useful.
Reveals his position by doing it though.
Yeah.
Because they came over to try and gank. They wanted to kill, but no one was really close enough.
They found Dragon Knight and they didn't want to go, which is the right call. If they tried that, they would have
died.
Owned.
He's got a double damage rune as well as having that BKB available. Not to mention Shadowblade potential timing. So yeah, finding a kill up against this DK is rather difficult.
He's getting pretty close to the Silver Edge already. He's actually highest net worth. It's very unusual that you see a Dragon Knight out farming Lycan. He's one of the fastest heroes in the game at farming.
Lycan just seems to be spending most of his time rotating with the rest of the team, though. Like, he's not farming. Like, the Bristleback's doing more of that.
This is where I would say if Lycan played this... so I guess the best frame of reference for me is Arteezy's way of playing Lycan. EG, of course, have played that a lot on him in the past until he joined Secret. In Secret, he's played it a couple of times, but not as much as he used to. But he would play it really farm intensively. Very quickly get either Medallion or Vlads or both, and then farm in the jungle. And really farm the jungle. And scout a bit with the wolves from time to time and just keep maximizing his farm. If he would have played it that way, I think he could have had a net worth of 14k or higher. That's the scary part. They're actually, I do believe he could have had 3,000 gold more than now, and that would have been almost a BKB, right? That's a full item that could have helped them a hell of a lot right now, but he's got a bit to go for that. We'll be going back to farming now, which I think he should be given priority together with Bristle, and Wind Ranger should probably step down the farming a little bit. She should just push lanes. Keep power shotting lanes. Her risk of getting ganked is pretty much non-existent, because the only thing she can really get ganked by is the Dragon Knight. If Clock Hookshot, she just force staffs and runs away, and there's no other real stun. Else they need some sort of really good combo play where they overgrowth and she force staffs that, and then you hookshot or something like that. And then, if you force the enemy team into making a combination play like that and they pull it off, first of all, there's no guarantee it's going to work, and if it works, it's still 2 ultimates to kill a split pushing hero, and your team is free farming meanwhile. So. And the Dragon Knight, by the way, can't solo her either, so he's going to need help too. There's no hero that can take her out alone.
So they're actually going to have a crack over at ROTK. The Wolves are coming in first. The rest of EP, though, I say that, it's only Old Chicken and Fan sitting in the tree line.
If they get a Shackle, he's super dead, but playing it wisely here.
Still a long...
Oh, maybe not. Maybe he's going to get greedy.
He sees the Lycan. But there's no one else behind him where he can jump it. But now, the Wolves, there was actually a bait for a hook shot anyway.
Nice outplay.
This means that Lycan gets back. He knows the hook shot's on cooldown. And that means EP potentially can try and go for a gank themselves. A smoke movement. Potentially.
It's a pretty short time window, though. The hook shot's going to be up in like 40 seconds, so they can't really get that much done. There's no Roche, even though he could spawn soon, and they're going to start keeping track of that from now on. I didn't notice the time when it said the first time, so I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Okay, that's a really fast respawn.
Yeah.
If he scouts that with the Wolves now, this is going to be a really important point. Oh, wow, he did get Silver Edge. Interesting.
Is he actually building into Assault Cuirass now?
It's such a good Silver Edge game. I am really surprised he doesn't get that. I think breaking Bristleback is like the best counter to the hero in the game. He is getting a BKB, right? With that recipe, it's got to be. Yeah, so... When he completes that, how is it works? It's like with Treant and Overgrowth against BKB, right? If you break someone and they BKB, they remove break. But if you have BKB on, you can get broken. So it's like with Overgrowth. If you can remove it with BKB, or if you're in BKB, it still works through, right? I think so. So even with a BKB, they can still break him if they do it right. But then they need to force the BKB first, which is actually super difficult. So, yeah.
So if you had a jump in here, then it'll be fine. But if it's the tree that initiates, then you're also fine.
Yeah, I guess they could also just, let's say CTY Silver Edge is in, gets off the break attack and then instantly stuns, then he won't be able to pop the BKB in time. And then they've got the whole Dragon Tail window to kill him, which is totally possible when he doesn't have any Bristleback ability. RTK.
That pick up and throw down that we're talking about up against RTK. The Ice Blast Hour going to hit, and actually going to find themselves a kill. It's Leshrac going down as the Gyrocopter right behind him. EP losing 2 to the Gyro, but then Lycan makes his way in. The Cogs push him back. There's one last attack that's still going to reach him. So the gyrocopter will dive for the cause as the rest of EHOME want to get the hell out of here. And the shackle will latch from Fan, catching Lanham as well as RTK. They force-staff themselves down, back in range of the Tier 1 tower, away to stage with this Necro unit keeps chasing RTK, and Lycan will pick up a double kill in his own death by the minions he left behind.
He didn't even die, right?
Oh yeah, he didn't die. You're right, it was the Shrek. He lived through it all.
That was actually a really good play by Old Chicken there. He just outran Cold Feet with his ult. The way he killed the Clockwork toward the end was he just got off the mana burn from the ranged unit and one last range attack before it got killed, so did the micro right, the timing right.
Ooh, he's coming in.
Really good.
This DK, that Ice Blast effect was still there. He's got Living Arm to protect him, and Roshan almost down. The Wolves are in the pit. More support's coming in, but without the Clockwork jump, they got nowhere to really get in there and contest Roshan. So they have to let it go.
I feel like this game is pretty even right now. What item pickups did we just get? I think there was a big item.
There was a BKB on the Lycan.
Bristle gets his BKB now as well. So double BKBs, almost triple. Windranger is close to hers as well, about 1,000 away. And then all of a sudden, like, the Ice Blast isn't so scary, the Calldown isn't so scary. There's actually, when you look over EHOME's lineup, their physical damage is really underwhelming for a bit until Gyro's close to an MKB, so that's going to help for sure.
Yeah, 200, 300 gold, and then he's got that MKB done. He just has to sacrifice his buyback for it, which at this point of the game is worth it.
Yeah.
Primarily because he just needs to dish out that much damage during the fight, or else EHOME don't win the fight.
The dangerous thing, though, even with all that damage, if Lycan gets in on him, he dies in 3 seconds. Like, he actually can't stand still and deliver with the Flak Cannon if Lycan finds the opening, so... it's great on paper, but it relies on either the hookshot cogs or the overgrowth being positioned well. There's the solo crossed here for Lanham, so...
Look for the loop. EP, smoked up, moving past the Radiant Ancients. And EHOME.
Oh, if they find Gyro now, that's big. Okay, they're just going to go for the tower.
Kind of feels a little bit... Because right now EHOME knows exactly where they are, and they've got Clockwork with his hookshot. They've actually got ways they can initiate in. EP's keeping a couple players back. Now the power shot's going to reveal him.
What's got the ages? It's Blue Chicken. Old Chicken, right? No?
Old Chicken.
Oh, never mind. It's the Windranger. Yeah. So Fan has the ages. I thought Lycan did just based on the way they were positioning for the tower push, but... is Windranger the right choice? I mean, Lycan isn't that good with ages because he's a transformation hero, so you generally prefer other heroes, but...
it might make a little bit more sense to have it like... Not on Shrek, because he's a support.
Good on the Bristle.
But Bristle's one of these heroes where, like, the rest of his team could die and he'll remain standing, then he'll die and then the Aegis will pop. So you could just, like... I don't say kite him, but...
That hero puts a lot of pressure. If you ignore him during an entire team fight, the quill stacks really start hurting. So you're kind of forced to deal with him. If you're talking kiting a Bristle, that hero's got like 500 move speed with max warpath, and then you're gonna need to create a gap of like 5 or no. How long are the quills? They're like 600 range or something in their AOE. So you need to really create a lot of space. I actually think Bristle is one of the better Aegis carriers. He's also great for sieging towers. He's hard to commit on. You really don't want to, and if you do, if you're EHOME and you want to get rid of a Bristle Aegis, you actually have to use an ultimate. So yeah, there's some. That could have been interesting. I guess Windranger to an extent can do the same thing. Like, you can go and focus fire the tower and then force a reaction. So it's okay.
But that means she needs more power to be a split pusher like that with EP. But that's okay. Like, I think EP's got any real problems whatsoever in their draft at the moment. Like, they're behind in the kills count on the board, but it doesn't really matter that much.
No, because
it takes one fight for EP to win, and they take a Rax.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it comes down to, where EHOME have to look at one fight in a real good positioning or 2 fights, and then they could be looking at taking out a Rax. It's just the issue of like how quick can you push with EHOME. Jara gets some level of damage. The DK is quite good at it. The tree does some quite good damage as well, but you're not looking for it from the Clockwork or from the Ancient Apparition, where every single player from EP apart from the Rubik is capable of doing quite heavy damage into a tower.
Yeah, they'll never be in a position where they're gonna like base trade, or if EP starts split pushing, EHOME have to defend. There's no other play. So yeah, this has the potential to go pretty long. I think I think EHOME's lineup, this is when they want to peak, but I don't think they're allowed to in this game by EP. It's it's not going to be easy for them to initiate team fights and set it up the way they want. Like, on paper, their lineup makes a lot of sense, right? You hook shot in, you start the fight. When the enemy team tries to counter-initiate, you get an overgrowth off. But that's really counteracted very nicely by having 3 BKBs that they actually don't even need to pop for anything else than the overgrowth unless they really are in a bad position against like call down and AA ults.
Well, let's see how it works. 4 staff down. It was Fan actually pushing himself down at that point. And then the movement up. Rubik, well, he's only going to steal battery assault. That's not enough to stay alive, so it's going to be 2 quick hero kills for EHOME into EP.
He really wait, what?
He 4-staffed into them.
Yeah, I thought that was an offensive 4-staff. I was like, that.
Oh, well, it was offensive from Wind Ranger to everyone's eyes.
What the?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know what he was running for. Maybe he also got the direction a little bit wrong. Or...
It's possible he wanted to force, because they did see them first. Like, either he just reacted slowly and he wanted to use it to just travel a bit faster, or he wanted to try to force into double shackle, but then he must have misclicked because he never even got the shackle shot off.
It might have actually been an attempted wind run too. Just, again, wrong button. So many different abilities which may have got you out of safety. But with this, EHOME, like, now we see what happens. Like, you get 1 pick off, but it's still not enough to get up on the high ground. So they have to come back. The top lane, the bottom lane's already pushing in quite heavily. So they have to go back and deal with that.
Yeah, they've expended their dragon form, which is their most important ability. So it's going to be a little bit of downtime. Well, there's no real loss for them, though. The lanes are pushed fairly well. There's no Roshan. If they just keep farming the gyro, if they keep making sure to stack camps, which it looks like RTK is trying for there. I don't know if he got that one, actually. No. Still surprised a lot of players try to stack this one downwards. It's so much easier to pull it to the left, or the right, actually, both sides. The spawn box is a little weird in that camp.
Also because they changed the one which was further south because it was being like, that's the only way you can do like quad or 5 times stacks.
No, this spawn box is really old. That's why the magic bush works. The one that blocks both camps. It's because this spawn box is like, it's a rectangle that's like twice as high as it's wide.
Okay.
So it goes really far down, but not so far to the side. So that's why if you want to stack that camp, regardless, it's always easier to stack it to the side. So it's just weird. I mean, intuitively, you would probably just try to like, oh, let me just pull them down, because like if you look at the area, it just intuitively tells you, you're like, we want to pull them down, but it's really not the best.
Clockwork now, only 70 gold away from having his Aghanim Scepter, so never-ending hook shots get to arrive. But EP are fine with that, because right now Clockwork, I still don't know if he can survive once he does jump in. 4-staff's the only thing that can really save him, so it really comes down to positioning. And there's actually a move over from CTY. Came with an invis rune on the DK, didn't find his target, he was hoping for Lycan but couldn't find him. He moved away too quickly. But with the observer ward behind that tier 2 tower on the top, EHOME can potentially force up against the building. They don't really have to use Dragon Form or commit Dragon Form to this, but if they have to, they can.
And he can always get out. That's the really good thing for EHOME, is that they can BKB TP. There is no counterplay from the Dire to that. And I think both of their heroes are tanky enough that if they do it on full health... Okay, if you get Focus Fired and Bristle is on top of you and like him, you die as Gyro. I think the Dragon Knight actually lives. It's kind of crazy, because they don't have enough Minus Armor. Oh, they get the tower for free, and they even find a bonus.
That's a big one. Latrike on the sideline for a while. I know it's only a support, it's not the core like we were expecting in the previous games, but...
He was close to BKB. That's a really good kill.
Whatever you can do to slow it down. So much money on the gyro.
I think we're looking at Butterfly. Even though EP have heroes that can go for an MKB, both Lycan, Wind Ranger, and Bristle can do it, they really don't want to. And if you can force them into doing it, it's a big advantage. If you get Butterfly and you have the Solar Crest on the Treant, then it can quickly get pretty difficult. Oh, he could overgrowth that. I think he will.
Yeah. Wow. Stop the TP. I thought it was going to come a little bit late there, but the BKB lets him break free. RTK, he's got a hookshot for cooldown in 1 second time, but he's got no one to support. The Living Armor helped to protect himself from the damage of the Wind Ranger, who is walking around with both Ice Blast as well as double damage. Obviously not Ice Blast, yeah, and double damage. Hence he's calling a special type of blue.
Nothing's going to come out of it, really. They force a BKB charge from Fan. That's pretty decent.
And Overgrowth goes on cooldown.
Yeah, the BKB charge is way more important. They can just wait. I don't think EHOME are under pressure to end this game soon. It's a game that's pretty difficult to call in the late game, though. I think if you look at the overall scaling, I would say AA and Treant fall off fairly much, and Clock is sometimes great, sometimes okay. Like it, for me, Clockwork late game comes more down to individual plays than scaling. Like if you find the right openings, you can be incredible. Else you're generally kind of meh. So perhaps there is a certain pressure on EHOME here to get some towers down there. They are succeeding in doing that, because the other team has really good late game. Lycan, Bristle, Windranger, and Lesh turning into a core.
Yeah.
Rubik is dirt poor though, so he's not gonna.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, unless Ancient Apparition's walking around with an Aghanim Septi, not really getting as much out of the Radiant supports. A Train can give all the living armor he wants, but as you said before, his Overgrowth's already being countered. So he's a guy that can send a whole bunch of people in Viz, and can give living armor, which won't really protect you from most of what EP will throw at you.
His one job is to overgrowth after BKBs. They need to force BKBs, and then he needs to get a good overgrowth. And if he does that, he's done his job in the fight. And if he can make like the biggest play for the team, or he can be like almost useless. It's a kind of fun situation you get in with Treant, and when there's multiple BKBs in the field.
It's funny, if he had more farm, then I'd be feeling a lot more confident about him, because then you can have eyes in the forest. Yeah. And then your ultimate's so much more powerful. Because it's everywhere. Well, they're looking towards the Ancients again, but they've also got an Observe Ward in the high ground. That's the reason why EHOME know exactly what EP is up to. And Clockwork can see him. If he hookshots up this far, he's going to end up leaving his team too far behind.
Pre-dragon forming.
And he's Shadow Bladed in too. So they can't see him unless they put a sentry up, and I think it's exactly what they did. But they find, well, one of the targets they at least wanted. It's going to be the Rubik. They haven't finished him yet. Now they will do so. The Shackle latching on CTY, but Fan, that damage output is very minimal until finally Old Chicken does run in there, and that's what's going to rip apart the Dragon Knight. The Ice Blast comes in to help out, but ROTK on the run from Old Chicken finally finds that crit he was searching for. And you're looking at a real problem for EHOME. They only claimed the Rubik with their big initiation, and they lost all 3 cores, and Roshan, because he's about to spawn up in a second.
Yeah, this is what happens when Lycan gets close to Gyro. He just dies. He actually got like nothing done in that fight. I believe they collapsed on the Gyro with both Lycan and who was the other hero? It must have been Lycan, and I guess Lesh was over there. The Windranger got the Shackle shot off on the Gyro, and Bristle was in the neighborhood of that as well, so it's just insane how much damage Lycan can output. And like I said, you could see how long it took them to kill the Dragon Knight because they don't have enough minus armor, but at some point they're going to scale enough. They had their own Curious this fight, and they got to isolate him at the end. Like, it took them a long time. Focus Fire seemed minimal, but if you can keep running Focus Fire for 10 seconds, I mean, at some point you're going to get through that thick shell there. And they get the Aegis and Cheese. Who took that Cheese? Was that Windranger? No, she took the Aegis. So Cheese is on Lesh, actually, for now. Doesn't really get that much out of it right now, but will later on. I think they should give that Cheese to Bristle, actually, and just sell his poor man's shield. It's losing its value now. We want to keep that slot for something better. And maybe he gets to Shivas now. He has the money.
Is it worth Shivas? Do we actually see the AC?
He has it on Lycan.
Okay, so Lycan has the AC. So yeah, okay. Then yeah, you're right. Shiva's just the best place to go.
Unless he wants to keep the plate mail and just there's
something else.
There's no way.
It's Shivas.
I mean, you could try for a Lotus Orb, but it's not a Lotus Orb game. You could reflect Dragon Tail.
Yeah, that's not that terrific.
But that's very unlikely. And Dragon Knight needs to not be in BKB when he Dragon Tails for that to work.
Would it reflect the death damage from the Ancient Apparition ultimate?
It only reflects. So think of it this way: if Lincoln's blocks it, then Lotus Orb can reflect it. That's the rule.
Okay. Which
and
means
I think
the
it's
answer is then
true.
no. 100% no.
Oh, they can reflect homing missile. Has he used that all game? Like two times.
He's used it a couple of times, so not much more than that.
It's such a cool item, though. Like, Lotus Orb is one of the most intriguing item designs in the game. I think it's really, really cool, and I have this feeling it might be completely broken, but it's very difficult to predict until you start seeing some games played with it. But it is really, really cool. It's a shame we don't get to see it so much in competitive play, but it's very situational. And what makes it difficult is that you need to either force a specific situation where the enemy kind of has to cast the spell that you, where it's really important that they don't cast it, but it's only 6 seconds. I think that item could be buffed a little bit without being broken for competitive, like you give it another, like say 2-second duration or something, but it's a little bit delicate with tweaking it for now, I guess. Maybe a shift in the metagame would make it a lot better too, like it's just, perhaps the heroes right now don't really
Don't suit it.
don't really counter it too well. Oh well, don't get affected by it too much.
Well, tier 2 tower on the bottom lane is now the next focused. Homing missiles just flying out, but all being mopped up, and this is the EP's push time. They got all the big necro books, and CTY is going to try and stop him. Nice already the stun on the bristleback, keeping him facing the front. He'll get the BKB off, which means the Ice Blast actually, well, he's still going to be chilled up by it, but that's all. And the hook shot, well, RTK jumping out, able to find Fan, so there goes your wind range, but remember that's only the Aegis Immortal as they pick up Jar with that rocket heading straight towards Rubik, and they have to get Fan out of here. There's too much damage coming his way. Another hook shot should be available. It's actually going to miss at RTK, and hook shot stolen by the Rubik. He cannot use it to get away to safety in time, and there will be a nice 3-man stun that makes these chases even a little bit more difficult, but the rocket, they're looking for that vision again. Hookshot's back off cooldown. 4-staff up and well off target. Fan gonna TP away to safety. And they're too late to pick him off again.
This is the way EHOME needs to start a fight. They need to find Bristleback and they need to hit him with AA ult. And just get Dragon Knight to hit him a bit. See, the Lycan kind of wanted to go in and start hitting someone there, but the way they were clustered up, he didn't have a good angle. And the reason EP were able to take the last fight above Roche so convincingly was that the fight wasn't like centered around one point. It was like 2 fights going on at the same time, or maybe even 3. And the moment they get spread out and it becomes like multiple skirmishes, EP's lineup is extremely good. But for the organized 5-on-5, Bristle is actually not tanky enough to just stand and not care about the Dragon Knight and Gyro. So he has to turn his back and run away, and it really limits the pressure they could get out in that fight.
Well, hello Herbert's Halberd for the DK.
Yeah,
Control over for who though? Like they're still all walking around with BKBs, even if the timing is getting lower for it all.
Well, it's good afterwards, and even if he doesn't use the active, it still gives the evasion. It's pretty nice. Looks like MKB is going to be the choice though for Lycan, so he's going to bypass that soon.
Yeah.
I'm imagining Wind Ranger wants to get one as well. It would make a lot of sense for her to get MKB too. Unless if they need to get some sort of defensive item on her. She seems to be targeted out quite a lot and get brought down fairly easily, but I feel like she has the defensive item she needs. If she starts building more defensively, she's not going to become much of a threat later on. So Daedalus or MKB for her, I would say 100%.
Yeah. Monkey King Bar makes more sense.
It depends who she's trying to counter. Gyro has a butter, right? Yeah, she needs MKB.
Yeah. He has a butterfly, and DK has himself a halberd.
Yeah.
So with that, you've already got
And Solar Crest.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, real trouble for Fan, and that's 73 seconds on the sideline. I don't know if buyback is available for her.
It is.
You're right, it is. In fact, there's actually only 2 buybacks available, so it's going to be the Bristleback as well as the Wind Ranger that have buyback. They can go high. Even if it just forces the buyback, it's still a win here for EHOME.
Yeah, they just need to make sure they can get out. But it actually shouldn't be too difficult. They can just do cogs and disengage.
Yep. Well, commit Dragon Form to it.
Or even Overgrowth.
That was a little early. They're going to come up. Split Earth's going to be dodged as well. And DK just starts attacking directly into the tower. And Wind Ranger refusing to buy back for the moment. The tower's being chipped away.
I think they're faking that they don't have it. They want EHOME to try to commit for a 5-on-4.
Well, the only way that's going to happen is if RTK hook shots in, then they'll commit.
That's pretty likely.
It is RTK. Well, we got stolen. Okay, homing missile from the Wind Ranger.
That's decent.
From the gyrocopter onto the Rubik.
It's a 2-second or level 2 one.
Well, CTY isn't even going to be faced because there's that hook shot in. Pushback. It's now 12 seconds to the Wind Ranger buyback, and she does not want to do it. The cooldown's allowing them to buy a lot of space here. Combining it with the Frost, now going to go with the double Frost if they can. The Chill's on top of the Bristleback. He's down for 72 seconds. The buyback comes out for 1. Wind Ranger will now respawn back up again as the BKB from Old Chicken breaks free of the overgrowth. But the cogs, they try and isolate more of them, and how much damage can be done here from EP? And it looks like it may be enough. Almost not, but no DK. They stand their ground and they bring down the Lycan. The nice shackle or focus fire on RTK. He can't stop this. The Fade will fly in. It was the DK who was the second hero to be shackled to. And all they want to do now, EHOME, is get the hell out of here. They took the tower. They at least forced a buyback out from the Bristle.
Man, that Gyro just did not get hit by Lycan. I think he dodged like 4 or 5 attacks. Butterfly, and I guess he got crested as well. That's the problem. They really need these MKBs.
It's so dangerous. That's going to take so long now because Lycan ended up buying back.
Wait,
So
that was Bristle, right?
So it was Bristol, but you're right, sorry.
Yeah,
Like
he's still
dead.
2k away. It's
Okay.
going to take a while. It's like a good at least 3 minutes, maybe 4, unless they get a Roche or have a stack of Ancients or something, which I don't think they do, so... Yeah, that's a pretty big problem here for EP, and Gyro is starting to become a beast now. This Satanic is actually completed if he wants to buy it right now. And then even though they hit him through his evasion, he's still going to stay alive, because once again, they have no way of locking him down during BKB. They might need to look for an Abyssal on the Bristleback. Mm-hmm. Or in the Lycan, but yeah, well, they're both really far off having any sort of money for that right now.
You're getting close on a Gyrocopter, and if you've managed to achieve that, then you're probably walking through the entire Ice Blast and Call Down and everything else which has been thrown at you. Because that was one nice thing that EHOME did. They made as much space as they possibly could.
A lot of gold on Windranger. She needs to make her decision soon. Let's see what the rush timer is.
I think she needs to get a
One
Monkey
minute.
King Bar as well. I think they all need like damage into these cores. Direct damage too, not any of this mist stuff.
There's going to be a smoke from EHOME. If this smoke is successful, they get Roche. They just need to find one key kill. They could also try for Elena Rax, actually, if they find the Bristle, for example. He is not the easiest kill in the world still, but they're starting to rack up so much damage by now that it is actually entirely possible to bring him down with just a smoke gank. But EP, they're playing this well, playing safe. They actually don't know whether Roshan is up, I think. I believe the only team that has vision in there is the Radiant. Oh, there's the Wolf, never mind. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. Then they're doing the right thing, because else they were risking Roche like this, and that's something they really don't want to do. Now, unfortunately for them, they might still end up doing that, because now the Wolf expired, and the Illu of Gyro is actually going to see the respawn of Roche. So if they don't start rotating, this is a free Roshan. That's probably the end of the game, actually. They cannot let this go the way of EHOME, and they're going to see it right now.
I don't think they got a choice. Like EHOME now sees it, so actually, does EHOME even pop in here, or do they try and counter initiate? Think EP's going to try and come and
Oh,
contest
they should
him?
definitely pop in there. They know there's a Leshrac top, and I think they also knew that the rest of the Dire were inside their own jungle. So this is a...
Well,
they might not
Wolves will
commit
scout
to it
them
fully, but they can kill it pretty fast with this Solar Crust and the Gyro's damage as well as Dragon Light. Look at this.
Yeah,
They aren't even going to make it there. This is really, really quick.
you're right. The Lycan Wolves are
gonna
coming in. They've got the gem, so they can see this.
They're too late.
Yep. So Roshan belongs to EHOME. And the trade-off is the tier 2 tower on the top lane. They don't use fortification here, EHOME. So they want to save that in case EP do try and force a high ground against them.
It's a good call. I don't think they could have saved that tower anyway, so essentially it would have been wasted, but like this, they have some good protection against the split push Lycan could potentially get in for, but...
There's that Monkey King bar we're talking about, a Wind Ranger, and also BTs for the Clockwork.
She has no buyback now, though, so... It's an all-in. She needs to be all-in.
She needed this. She really, really needed this, or else EHOME is just going to start to make him... I'll say claustrophobic, that's not the word I'm searching for. and we've already used sieged too much today. Either way, they're going to be locked inside their base and starved to death.
Yeah.
Are they still, okay. The Satanic was purchased. The whole Satanic is actually purchased.
Yeah,
It's just
and a
not
Morbid
out.
Mask.
It's just not out yet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the Morbid Mask belongs to somebody else or if he accidentally
It
purchased
was
it.
actually his... I don't know.
Well, there's another helm with a Dominator now. No, it's going to be someone else's.
No, it was his. He moused over it and it said YJ. I don't know. He might have made a mistake, or he... I feel like he had a Dominator earlier.
Oh yeah, because the Dominator was the one that came out from his stash. Man, one attack and that Ruby drops by 1/6 of his life. Does not want to come anywhere near that DK. And remember, DK is walking around with cheats, so it's difficult to kill him, but it means he doesn't have the Aegis more, so he'll hold on to his ultimate form. And this focus fire from Fair's not enough with the Ice Blast too. CTY is still standing his ground. He's almost going to go down. He's so low on 35 HP. Finally he will, but the cost is so high for EP. They buy back over on the Shrike. The hook shots are well off target, but you've already taken out the bottom racks. And the Lycan and the Bristleback on the sidelines, that's the critical thing for EHOME. And in fact, there's your GG call. EHOME will take the game. It took almost 52 minutes to do it, but they finally break the EP base. And EP call it straight away. They didn't even wait for the secondary set of racks to go.
Yep, they knew that game was over there. A full minute for the Radiant lineup in the Dire base is at least another lane of racks, maybe even both. And
Yeah.
like their chance of coming back, I feel like time was pretty much up at that point. The gyro got way too big. Actually, all the cores of EHOME got exactly what they needed in this game, and